Hey y'all, I'm Allison Asarch from Nashville, Tennessee.
Hey, I'm Sean Fraser from the Ritzy Kids.
Hunters, this is Johnny from Rail Motor.
Hey, it's Shane from Blind Season.
Hey, it's Rob Stanier, and you can check out my music on all the streaming platforms.
Check out my latest music on all the streaming sites.
Check out my debut album on all streaming platforms.
Check out our new debut album.
Check us out on Spotify and Apple Music. And you're listening to our friends, Braggy and Curly.
My favorite bands from Australia.
My two favourite podcasters,
Braggy and Curly.
Braggy and Curly.
On the
Unfiltered and Undiscovered Podcast.
Hey there, everyone, and welcome to episode 118 of the Unfiltered and Undiscovered Podcast. Please welcome around the screen. We've got Braggy down there in Adelaide. We got Rossi. Welcome back, Rossi, from Sydney. And of course, we've got the wonderfully talented Chloe Styler joining us tonight. So welcome everyone to the show.
Thank you.
So Rossi, it's good to have you back, mate.
Thanks, mate. It's lovely to be back. I have been a little busy, but that happens from time to time.
Yes.
All I know is that I did enjoy the rugby league on Friday night.
Yeah, you would have with the snaring a win and wondering how far they'll go now.
I have no footy news because it was a week off for the AFL because of coming into finals.
I think the best thing about the Roosters sneaking into the semi-finals was them beating South Sydney. That was the best thing about it. I just enjoyed it so much on so many levels.
Absolutely. I can just imagine. Now, the only piece of news that we have is the King of Margaritaville, Jimmy Buffett, passed away.
There you go. Yeah. Now, he had a couple of songs, didn't he? He had that one and he had Come Monday, which is probably it's one of my favorites.
Oh, it's a beautiful song.
Yeah. And he was just a laid-back dude, wasn't he?
Laid-back dude, laid-back fella. There's an episode of that TV show 30 Rock where they have all the Buffett-style people come in because Jimmy Buffett apparently was going to appear on their show, and all these people sort of turned up, and there's a whole traveling culture, not unlike the Grateful Dead, around Jimmy Buffett apparently.
He's got a massive following.
The people who love him just really, really deeply love him.
Yeah, he was at the Snapper Rock surfing event, probably 2019, I reckon. And he's playing on stage with the likes of Kelly Slater and Stephanie Gilmore. And he's just such he was such a magnetic personality. And he died from a rare skin cancer, apparently, 4-year battle.
He spent a lot of time out there in the sun. Yeah.
I would imagine that there were a number of people raising their margaritas to the King of Margaritaville. So rest in peace, Jimmy.
That's it.
All righty. So let's welcome Gold Coast singer-songwriter up, another Queenslander, Rossi.
I love Queenslanders. Deep in my heart, I love them.
And it's Chloe Styler. And Chloe, we were just talking a little bit before we pressed the record button, but loving your music and welcome so much to the show.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here, and thanks for having me. It's a real treat.
That's good.
You may not think that by the end of the interview. Over to
Chloe,
you, Braggy.
Chloe, I usually get to start this, and because I always usually ask the similar sort of question. Although last week I didn't because of the guest we had on, but I'm always interested to know how someone gets the urge to play music. Do you have musical parents that just listen to the radio and one day say, I want to play guitar? Or how did it happen for you?
I suppose I have my parents to thank because they put me into singing lessons and piano lessons when I was little. So I started singing when I was 7 and piano probably around the same age. And then I picked up the saxophone when I was 10. Wow. And I did like bands and choirs and musical theatre all through school. So I had a very musical childhood and schooling. My great aunt was an opera singer, so I think that might be where that comes from.
The blood, yeah.
Yeah, but my mum and dad aren't very musical at all.
But did they have music in the house?
Oh yeah, definitely. And we always went and saw live music and country music as well. So it was around me as I grew up.
Yeah. It's interesting. I listen to your music, and we're going to talk about it more in depth, I guess, as the show goes on. But because a couple of songs that I would say that they don't really seem country to me, which I like. You're crossing over into the pop world, but there's even some other styles and there's a song I especially really like that we'll get to later that maybe it's got a reggae feel. I don't know if you boys picked that one
I
out.
know what one you're talking about.
Yeah, I love that. That's my favorite, by the way.
Thank you. But yeah, I know what you mean, that some of my music doesn't really present itself as country, and that wasn't a conscious choice, but it was a choice nonetheless, because as a songwriter, I just write what I feel, and when I get into the studio, like, I don't sit down and go, I'm writing a country song. I just write a song. And when I get into the studio, then we just give the song the life that it deserves. And I do consider myself a pop country artist, and I'm heavily influenced by country music and the storytelling behind country music. But, you know, if the song deserves a little bit more of a pop production, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to try and box the song into a genre just because I am a particular genre, you know. And genre, you could get me talking about genres for 2 days straight, because it's something that I've struggled with for 3 years since I recorded these songs. But I think, you know, I'm confident in the pop country sound, and it is cool because I know you're referencing January Love with the reggae feeling.
I love that song.
Yeah, and it's very different, but I think it's really cool because when I do strip it back to just me and the guitar, then it sounds way more country, but with a full band, it's got a whole different feel, which I just love. Yeah,
it's cool.
Thank you.
No worries.
So have you always been a songwriter?
I started writing songs when I was 15. I got my guitar when I was 13, and then I needed a couple years to learn because I'm self-taught on the guitar, and I was heavily inspired by Taylor Swift, and that when I was 15, she'd released like I think probably like her Fearless album and stuff like that. So I was very inspired by her songwriting style. And then I remember I wrote my first song at 15, and it's not very good, but we pushed through, and now songwriting is just a part of my life, and I consider it kind of like therapy because, you know, oftentimes I'm writing a song very specifically for a situation or a person, and 9 times out of 10 it never makes it outside of my voice memo app on my phone, but like at least I get the feelings off my chest and I feel better afterwards.
Look, that cathartic nature for songwriters is a really important thing, and that's one thing that like no one should ever enter into a relationship with Taylor Swift.
Totally.
Because she won't miss. She does not miss. I admire her so much because not only does she write her own song, she sings. Like, for all young women, like young performing women, like she gets a lot of flack. I hear a lot of people say Taylor Swift is it, and I'm like, going, you're kidding, aren't you? Come on. Like, the woman's worked.
Great businesswoman as well. Like the empire she's built is just incredible.
Anyone's just jealous if they don't like her, I think.
And not only that, Rossi, you're right, but you know, you put yourself out in that position too to cop all that bullshit and that flack, and to be able to be strong enough to deal with that. I mean, she must have a good support group with her, I'm sure. So you know, it's a big thing to do, to put those things out there, those songs out there.
I think I told you I'd watched the documentary on her, Miss Americana, and liked her even more. But mind you, I've got a niece who's a Swiftie. I tell you, she's a big fan. She's traveled the world to see Taylor. She saw her she's seen her in Nashville. She's seen her in New Zealand. Like, she loves her and loves her to death. And she evokes that in women. Her fans just love her, and I think there should be more of it. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. We on another podcast I do, the Flying Runner podcast, we interviewed a young lady who just completed the 6 world majors, and she's a huge Swiftie, and you'd imagine what is in the playlist as she's churning through those marathon miles. So it's
so there you go. She's inspiring people in all fields.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
I think your music's got a bit of Taylor in there, you know, like I'm not a big Swiftie, and I actually had to do some research around Taylor Swift for the interview I did on Monday night. But so I'm not a big Swiftie, but you know her music, and it was just there's a real sense. I personally, I think your music should be on the radio, so people should be hearing it. I hold it in high regard. So let's talk about Hometownless. That's your latest one.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry, before I go, side A, side B, love it.
Yeah, me too. That's genius.
Thank you so much.
Because, Chloe, we have this ongoing discussion nearly every week about the way music is presented these days, and it's one song at a time, one song at a time, one song at a time.
Yeah.
And I always want more. You know, maybe Rossi's in the other side, in the other camp, and says maybe we should put one out. But I like the way you've done this side A, side B. It's just combining both. For an old guy like me, it makes more sense.
That just on that case, I was watching a documentary called "This Is Pop" during the week, which is about XTC, and they put out a song called a song, and the B side of the song was "Dear God," and the record companies in America started flipping it, and they didn't like the song so much that they didn't even put it on the album. The radio stations flipped it, started playing the B side, so much so that they had to scramble, go back and put the record on the album. Because that song blew up, and then a whole bunch of people are like going, "Damn, limey, homosexual! How dare you be rude to our God?" All this sort of stuff, and all these other people are writing to him saying, "I love you so much for what you said about what we said." You know, And that's the thing: you can't choose, you can't dictate what people are going to take.
Yeah,
I've had an experience recently where a record came out, and there's one song that we just didn't pick, has just like gone, no promotion, nothing. That song's gone off. Just okay. You just don't know what people are going to take.
Sometimes it just happens.
You need to just listen to what they say.
Yeah.
So let's talk through Hometownless. It's quite a unique title and quite a unique feel for a song and quite a unique message. So walk me through.
Yeah, so Hometownless was written with my friend Jason Resch. He's in the band Darlinghurst, and he's an incredible songwriter. And we actually jumped on Zoom and wrote the song in early 2020. And at that point in time, I was kind of going through the motions of a breakup, and he brought the song title Hometownless to the right and kind of had to convince me to work with it, because I didn't really know what he was trying to say. Like, I got to work. So I listened, and he was, explaining how it's about when you're feeling like you don't have a place to call home and you're on the search again. And that's exactly what I was going through at the time. So we ended up writing the song, and very shortly later it was done, and we worked up a demo, and I took it to the studio, and I actually was never going to release it as a single. I didn't really feel like it was a single, to be perfectly honest. But as the evolution of the EPs and the single releases happened, I started to love the song a lot more. And I never not liked the song, but I didn't think it was my strongest, but I just always came back to it in my Dropbox. So I really love it. And I think it's such a universal theme as well. Everybody goes through some form of loss and change. And even if it's literally that you're changing homes, like just hometowns, you're moving a different location, and you're feeling all those feelings of change and finding a new place to call home. It doesn't have to be a breakup. I am, channeling my Taylor Swift in that regard, but I think it's relatable and one of my favorites now. Yeah.
Drive out to the interstate line. Got to ditch this city like the boy at the back of my mind. You confess that we're a mess. I can't hear it anymore, 'cause I've heard it all before.
Yeah, so the first thing I wrote down when I started listening to all these songs, I wrote side A breakup album. I love a good breakup album. I love, like Beyonce Lemonade is one of my favorites, and Joni Mitchell Blue. But yeah, so I just figured that Vegan in Vegas, I don't want to pry into your private life, but Vegan in Vegas, that guy's copping it there because he's obviously, and then Girlfriend, I can see this guy's not really good at all. But I get more positive vibes from side B.
Same.
Would that be right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say so. There's hope and there's
it's the next stage.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like the stages of grief, I suppose. It wasn't intentional, but towards the end of the whole project, which is the 10 songs of side A and side B, I do feel that I've even matured in the songwriting and that regard, because I wrote these songs over a 6-year period. So some of them are really old, and the youngest one is Girlfriend, which is funny because it's the sassiest, I suppose.
Yes.
But then the oldest one has come back around, which is on side B, and that was written in 2017. So there's feelings that I have to like tap into when I'm playing live that I haven't felt those emotions or thought about that person in a long time.
Yeah.
You wanna take me out, wanna take me home, don't pick up the phone. You like the way I make you feel, way I make you laugh when we're all alone. Tell me, why is it so hard to say what you're feeling? I've made it clear from the start. I ain't the girl you hide away, just a pretty face, call me when you're drunk. So if you think you're gonna play me like I'm a game boy, I've had enough. Tell me, why do you make it oh so complicated? I've made it clear from the start. I don't wanna waste my time. I'm the girlfriend, baby, call me when you want a girlfriend. No, I ain't here to be your one night stop. Tell me when you're looking for someone to love. I'm the girlfriend. I'm the kind of girl, the kind of girlfriend. You wanna show me off when we're at the bar, swear we're only friends. Do you think I'm oblivious? I ain't here for this, honey, don't pretend. Tell me, why is it so hard for you to admit it? You don't even know what you want. I'm the girlfriend, baby, call me when you want a girlfriend. No, I ain't here to be your one night stop.
But I mean, the order is really good of the songs, like an album, which is what I love.
It was an album. It was
Yeah.
technically going to be an album, and then the world did things,
Yes.
and life happened, and I wasn't prepared to do an album at that point in time. But I love vinyl, and I grew up listening to vinyls on my parents' record player, and I was going to cut the album as vinyl. Like I was going to press a side A and side B, and it would be an album. So I just said, oh my goodness, I can still do that. 2 EPs.
Oh, that'd be great, because you listen to that first side and you go, oh no, and then you have a break, you go and get yourself a wine, and you turn it over and you go, oh, it's okay, it's not that bad, things are working out.
It's okay.
But you know the discussion we've had that an EP is 4 songs and a mini album is 6 tracks.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I have heard that as well. Side A is technically only 5, but there are the 2 acoustic versions, which I have printed CDs. So I have a double CD print. So the front cover is the side A artwork and the back cover is the side B artwork.
That's clever. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Thank you. I'm happy to send you guys some if you'd like. I'll get your address.
Yeah.
Send you one.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm really proud of it because it's like this. It's a real tangible thing when it's a physical.
Yeah.
It's not just on Spotify,
I was massively in a debate over this last night, and I agree with you. The people need something tangible. You need something, even if, like all the people who supported you, you need to give them something.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah. And like, it doesn't feel like a real thing if it's just digital streaming. It really doesn't.
True.
All right. So, timer just went off, Braggy. It's time for
Got a
Braggy.
silent timer.
I've got it in front of me. So it's Braggy's
production
well
king.
my.
I liked it better when the alarm went off and our guests will go.
Curly's production values have raised.
They have.
Sorry.
Okay, you ready?
I'll turn it back on audio now. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I was born on the 21st of July, 1948 in the Marylebone area of London. My family lived above the Moulin Rouge, a restaurant my parents operated on the north end of Shaftesbury Avenue, a short walk from Piccadilly Circus. All my family members worked in the restaurant. My parents divorced when I was 8, but they continued to maintain the family restaurant and live above it. I went to St. Joseph Roman Catholic Primary School in Macklin Street, which was close to my father's business on Drury Lane. I developed an interest in piano at a young age, eventually using the family baby grand to work out the chords because no one else played well enough to teach me. At 15, inspired by the popularity of the Beatles, I became interested in guitar. I persuaded my father to pay £8, the equivalent of £200 in 2023, for my first guitar and began playing it and writing songs. I occasionally escaped my family responsibilities by going to the rooftop above our home and listening to the tunes of the musicals drifting from the West End Theatre District around the corner. At school, I was constantly in trouble and did poorly in everything but art. Though I enjoyed art, I decided to pursue a musical career. I began performing under the name Steve Adams in 1965, and my goal was to become a songwriter. As well as the Beatles, other musicians who influenced me were the Kinks, Bob Dylan, Nina Simone, and blues legends Lead Belly and Muddy Waters. That's part one. Any idea?
No.
Good.
No.
That's good. We're supposed to get it yet.
Yeah, like they've obviously been immersed in the London entertainment scene down the West End of Drury Lane.
What a place to grow up.
Wow, that'd be incredible.
Yeah, in the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Chloe, I'm looking at your bio in front of me, and your songwriting has received some recognition. Tell me about the Gold Coast Music Awards, the Queensland Music Awards, and top 40 finalist status in the Vander and Young Global Songwriting Competition.
Wow.
How did all they come to be?
Well, I was a Queensland Music Awards finalist in 2019 for my song When Your Light Burns, which was a single I released in 2018. And that was like one of my first releases. So to be a QMA finalist was just amazing because only 4 finalists per category. So that was really cool. I then have been a Gold Coast Music Awards finalist a couple of times. I recently was one last week. And side A was up for release of the year, which was really, really cool.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. Because the Gold Coast is thriving at the moment with live music and with the music scene in general. We have such incredible artists and creatives here creating music, releasing music. So to just be recognized was really cool. And the Vander and Young Global Songwriting Competition, that was really, really amazing because I enter everything every year. I put myself up for everything, and I hadn't ever been a finalist, but last year I was for my song "Consider Me Gone," which is on side A, and there was over 4,000 entries, and 40 of us got to the finals. So it's just really nice to have that, I suppose, vote of confidence that you're doing something right and keep going and your music's resonating with people. So because that's all you want is that it connects. And at least Consider Me Gone did.
That's right. That's the job of an artist, to connect with other people. And
Vander and Young were 2 great songwriters, I've got to say.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's so obviously they must still be a part of that, Rossi. Do you know about that?
Look, isn't it through APRA? APRA AMCOS?
It is through APRA
yeah, it
AMCOS,
is.
yeah.
So that's it's significant. It's more than significant, I would say. You know, I think that's highly impressive. And you've got some Nashville stuff going on too.
Yeah, so I actually was in Nashville in June. I was invited to perform at CMA Fest, which is the biggest country music festival in the world, which is just nutso that they asked me to play. There were 5 of us Aussies invited to play, so there was a nice group of us over there. That
wasn't so scary.
It wasn't so scary because when I found out, I didn't know anyone else who was going because we couldn't talk about it. We hadn't announced it. And it was kind of just like I was waiting to see other people post about it on their social media. But then we all, it was just the best time. I did some songwriting as well. And I'm actually packing because I'm going back there on Tuesday. And I'm excited to perform at the Bluebird Cafe. Which
I do know it very well.
I'm so excited.
That is spectacular.
Thank you. I agree.
It's
it's unreal. I don't know.
It is a massive achievement. It really is. Yeah, it really is. That's
So
the big deal. That's legitimate.
How did they react to Aussies at Nashville?
They love Australians. I will just preface it with I'm not an expert in America or Nashville, but because I've been asked so many questions in my interviews lately, and I'm like, oh God, I don't really know much. I've been twice. I was 15 when I first went, but as an adult now, I can confidently say that Australians are welcomed, and Americans seem to really warm to the Australian accent. And also, like, just being in Tennessee, pretty much everyone there loves country music, and you're just feeling like you're in a place that you belong, I suppose.
We have to thank Keith Urban for a bit of that as well. He's such a star there. He's such a star there. Now, I'll tell you what. Over the other side of Broadway, if you go up to Third Man Records if you get a chance, and have a look there.
What did you say?
Third Man Records. It's Jack White from the White Stripes that's got a record shop there. And it is the most insane place in the world. And they've got a recording booth in there, and you can go in and record a track on vinyl and walk away with the vinyl in your hand.
Oh, it's that old booth that I've seen him on talk shows with.
Neil Young did a record there as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've seen that.
But
So
this place
it's like one
is
little
incredible.
booth and with a microphone, and you go in and
It is. It's fantastic. It's such a cool place. But Nashville in itself is just like music city. It's the music capital of the world in a way now. LA's lost it. Nashville's the place.
Yeah.
If you will go there, you've done so well.
You will need to report back on to us if you do go and record a vinyl. So
Third Man Records.
You can either come back and say, no, Rossi, it's all changed now, or you can tell us the experience. That would be awesome. Yeah,
I will let you know for sure.
Yeah.
Street brought me you. Had a good year or two. Shame we lost touch with reality. I rarely ever cried. Forgot what it was like to know the feeling of lonely. But our walls came crashing down. Like our friends all said they would. I should have listened to them. They were drying my tears every Saturday night. Instead I acted as if being in love made you put up a fight. But this ain't a movie. When I read the lines, nobody's cueing me to stay this time. So consider me gone, gone, gone. Ninth I brought hurricanes.
So what's in the card? So look, I go through. I'm looking at your Spotify list now. I love January Love as well. I love Consider Me Gone. I think that is such a great little song. I actually really like Vegas and Vegas. Like I was playing it on the way home from work, and I just went for a run, and I was playing it there as well. So yeah,
Everybody's got someone in their life they can relate to that.
Yeah. And I don't consider it country at all. So it's and we've had a string of country artists come through and talk to them over the last, I suppose, 8 weeks, but and they've all been different in their own way. But I would consider your music more popish. And
one of the first things that came to my mind when I started to listen to you, Chloe, were the first people, and I don't know if maybe it's just the tone of your voice, was Sarah Blasco.
So, thank you.
Some of those songs, I just get that I think it's the tone of your voice.
Thanks.
Or the Aussie accent. You know, she really, I don't know what it is, but and the songs, I guess, as well, kind of, you know. Then I can see how you're influenced by Taylor Swift, but your music doesn't sound like Taylor Swift's. Maybe your songwriting is in the same style.
That's nice, because I try not to be somebody. You know, I try to
You're Chloe.
Yeah, exactly.
You. Yeah.
And I draw influences. Sarah Blasco's really, that's a cool reference.
You like her?
Yeah. I'm really influenced by like Dido and Jewel as well.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because I feel I have a similar voice to them. It's quite soft, and I use my head voice. So I listened to those two growing up all the time, because my mum always had their CDs playing in the car. So I like, they're two of my influences. But in terms of like, if I had country influences, they're more pop leaning as well. So like Casey Musgraves, early Taylor Swift.
Jewel and Dido makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah. Well, my wife's massive Jewel and Dido. I've seen Jewel live. She was incredible.
Really?
Yeah, she supported Don Henley from the Eagles. She was like the support, and she was freaking fantastic. I thought she was better. She just came out with a guitar by herself and no shoes, and just went through her. And her story is amazing too. She was homeless when she got signed. Do you know that? Yeah. So it's So I get that now. Yeah.
Thanks.
I think that's the alarm, Curly.
That's the alarm. All right. Part two.
When we left, our person was just at school and being influenced by the West End. I began performing my songs in London coffee houses and pubs. At first, I tried to form a band, but I realised I preferred performing solo. In 1966, at age 18, I was heard by manager-producer Mike Hurst, formerly of British vocal group The Springsteens. Hurst arranged for me to record a demo and help me get a record deal. Right away, my first two singles were hits, reaching number 28 and number 22, respectively, on the UK charts. And my debut album went to number 10. Over the next 2 years, I recorded and toured with an eclectic group of artists, ranging from Jimi Hendrix to Engelbert Humperdinck. I was considered a fresh-faced teen star, placing several singles releases in the charts, and some of that success was attributed to pirate radio stations, which gave me fans by playing my records. Then things went south. In 1967, my second album failed to chart. Worse still, in 1969, I contracted tuberculosis and was close to death at the time of my admission to King Edward VII Hospital. I spent months recuperating in hospital, and during this time, I began to question aspects of my life and spirituality. I took up meditation and yoga, read about other religions, and became a vegetarian. As a result of my serious illness and long convalescence, and as a part of my spiritual awakening and questioning, I wrote as many as 40 songs, many of which would appear on my albums in later years. I reckon Curly would have it by now.
No, actually, I was tuning out. Sorry.
I reckon Rossi's got it.
I reckon I got a pretty good idea.
Okay. Chloe, it's a long time ago. Any idea? You definitely would know this person, and your parents would know this person.
See, I have an idea when you started talking about the spiritual stuff, but then I also don't know how old that person that I'm thinking of is, and if they're in the wrong era.
Cool. Well,
but I do have an idea.
Good. Everyone will get it next one.
Yeah.
All right, so everyone loves a good pop song, Braggy, and
Yes.
I just want to share this. Hometownless, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Vaguer Than Vegas, 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Girlfriend, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Meant
Well,
to be
yeah.
3 minutes and 18 seconds. So everyone,
Exactly how it should be.
we
Some of them.
excited about little things, Chloe.
It's important. Attention spans these days are dwindling.
That's part of it too, and like, but you like. I
But
hear
3
songs
minutes is
that go-
longer than an old pop song.
I know, but you hear a 4-minute song and you go, maybe that should have been 3.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
like
I have
really
a 4-minute
aggressive.
song.
Aggressive editing is a good thing. Aggressive, like that's a discipline to pull it down to say what you want to say. You know?
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
But
that
But
come
really-
back round is 4:23. Chloe.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one.
we've all got
Yeah.
one of those though. Everyone's got their Bohemian Rhapsody.
Single.
So, Chloe, you've supported some amazing people. Let's walk through them, shall we? So,
Mhm.
Lee Kernaghan, so Troy Cassadaly, Fanny
Yep.
Lubston. You've supported. I'm intrigued as to how this came about. Tony Hadley, who's
Hadley.
ex-Spandau Ballet.
He was doing the clubs, wasn't he?
What a
In
voice.
Australia?
Yeah, he was doing the clubs.
The tour I did, the most recent one, yes, but the tour I did in 2020, he played Tivoli in Brisbane, Metro Theatre in Sydney,
Yeah,
the Gov in Adelaide. It was great. Yeah.
good singer too. Good singer.
Gov is great.
Yeah.
He's got a great. Has he still got the voice?
Oh yeah, and he's got
Go.
this swagger on stage. Like
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a cool
And-
gig.
Yeah, that's
And-
a good gig.
Thompson twins, Tom Bailey.
Yeah. So the Thompson twins from the 80s, Tom
Yes.
Bailey's
Yeah.
still flying the flag, and he came over last year, and I was fortunate to open for him then as well.
So that
Mm.
just gives that straddles the divide of pop and country, really.
Yes. These were not like conscious choices to be like, oh, well, I'm doing both pop and country, so I should
No,
open.
yes, they were. You did it deliberately. You got a strategy.
In 2020, I actually was just basically given the opportunity to open for Tony, and I had like 2 weeks notice, and it was just as talks around the world of this random thing going on in China. Like it was literally that time of year. It wrapped up the 1st of March.
wow.
And so I was so lucky to get that tour in, because I got to learn from somebody like Tony Hadley, who has such incredible experience in the industry. And he's just such a nice guy. Like,
Yeah,
he
so that's the question I wanted to ask. Did you spend much time with him, and what did you learn from him?
Yeah, he was very generous with his time and his thoughts and advice. He basically he just was like, just keep at it. Like there's no special formula. You just have to keep at it, which that's something I've been told many times recently as well. It's survival of the fittest, survival of who's going to stick it out the longest, basically.
It's the last man standing. I've always said. I agree.
Yeah.
So
But
many people just walk away.
Yeah. And you know, if it's with any industry, if you stick at it long enough, like you'll get to where you want to be, even if that's a CEO of some amazing company, you know, like you'll get there. It's just, you just got to stick it out. So that's one thing he really did say, and it stuck with me. And similar with Tom Bailey, he was very generous as well with his time, and just a really nice guy, and his band was all female, so they were really cool to learn from, and they were also artists in their own right as well. So that was really cool to chat with those women and learn from them. I also I got to play Enmore Theatre in Sydney with
What a
Tom
room.
Bailey. Yeah, it's just, I've ticked off some bucket list venues in the last 3 years, thanks to those 2 tours. So I have Destroy Your Lines to thank, the promoters, for those 2 tours, because literally without them, I wouldn't have been able to play like the Tivoli in Brisbane, which has been a dream. So
Don't forget the poor old Gov in Adelaide.
the Gov was amazing.
It's okay.
The Gov was great, and actually some of the audience from Tony Hadley still follow me and still like we still chat, and they're like I'd consider them friends because they've stuck with me, and they're my mum and dad's age, but they're so sweet. I truly really like appreciated that show because it was the first show of the Tony tour. And I was so nervous, and I'd never done anything like that. And I just met Tony Hadley, and Mum is a huge Spandau Ballet fan. So it was this whole thing in my head. And to have such kind people in the audience in Adelaide was really nice.
So they treated Adelaide as an out-of-town tryout.
Yeah.
Guys are so harsh.
No, I loved it.
It's a lovely town. It's a rock and roll town, Adelaide. It really
Adelaide,
is.
it's okay. Yeah, where would you be? There'd be no Akadaka, no Chisel without Adelaide.
I get the feeling I don't really know anything about you. You're always dreaming, head up in the clouds, but still dirt on your boots. Yeah, you wanna be a star, you're forgetting who you are, and baby, where you came from. Yeah, we all know what's really true, but go and do what you gotta do. So go and leave this two-horse town. No one really thought that you would stick around. So it goes, you wanna be famous, thinking you're so LA, baby, but you're bigger than Vegas. You said you miss me. You got your reasons that you wanna see through. You wind up empty, 'cause whatever happens there doesn't mean that it won't follow you. Yeah, but you wanna be a star, so go and do what you gotta do. So go and leave this two-horse town. No one really thought that you would stick around. So it goes.
I was going to say, Braggy, with you being in Adelaide and being a Townsville boy, I would have thought that hometown less might have resonated with you a little bit. Because,
Adelaide's my home now.
Yeah,
If I still have a soft spot for Maggie Island.
yeah.
So if you're from Townsville, is Adelaide the big smoke?
Oh yeah, I wasn't going to go any bigger. I wouldn't have cut it in Sydney or Brisbane.
Yeah, or the Gold
Yeah,
Coast.
too many.
Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Gold Coast. There's nothing like the Gold Coast anywhere in the world, is there?
I have had some of the best times of my life on the Gold Coast. I can
Me
assure
too.
you, it is fantastic. It was the entertanment capital of the country at one stage. I think.
Yeah, it was. I've
Really was.
woken up many a time on the beach at Coolangatta with the big beach sweepers coming through many a time. So, Suncorp Stadium, what was that all about? You?
Yes, I got to play Suncorp Stadium with my band last year. We were invited to be the pre-game entertainment for a Brisbane Broncos game.
Okay.
They were versing the Sharks, and we won. And by we, I mean Brisbane. But I'm also not a very big NRL fan, so I just kind of was for the night. But
Go Broncos!
Yeah, go Broncos. But it was great. Like I saw Ed Sheeran play there. I saw One Direction play there. Like to then play my little songs there.
Yeah,
It was just
how cool.
unreal. Yeah, it was so cool.
And you
Because
prefer
it's you, it
playing
doesn't
with...
feel like it. Sorry,
Pardon?
because it's you, it doesn't feel like it's massive, but it is. It's a big deal.
Exactly.
doing
Yeah.
it
Well,
yourself.
thank you.
You see other people doing it, you go, "That's big," but when I'm doing it, it's not big. But
Exactly.
it really is.
I just had
it
to
is.
focus
It's all about
on the
perspective.
hand. Yeah.
So do you enjoy playing with a band, or do you still do solo acoustic stuff as well?
I still do solo acoustic and duo stuff. Like the Tony Hadley and Tom Bailey tours were just solo acoustic. Duo acoustic, which I love because that's how I write the songs. I write every song on my guitar that I was given when I was 13, and it's that's just to me the best way that I can portray the feelings. Oh, that's the alarm.
Yeah, keep
going.
so
It's okay. It doesn't take priority over the answer.
Well, I was like, I don't know. Do we need to know?
no, finish your answer.
So yeah, that's how I love playing. But I have most recently been doing band stuff. The last 2 years have been really working on that. And the band and I actually just played at the Gold Coast Music Awards, which was an absolute honor to be asked to play to a room full of our industry. So yeah, I mean, I will still happily take an acoustic set, but I am trying to do more band stuff because the songs really like lean into that. And I mean, I put so much work into the production. I want people to be able to hear the songs how you can hear them online, you know? Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Braggy, part 3.
Oh, okay, boss. After regaining my health and with a plethora of new songs, I hired an agent, Barry Crost. He arranged an audition with Island Records, who offered me the chance to record my songs whenever and with whomever I liked, but most importantly, however I liked. Now, that's a big deal, wouldn't it be, Curly, in a recording contract?
Wasn't Island the precursor to Virgin, though?
Yes, Island.
Was.
U2 signed originally with Island Records, I think.
Yeah, that's right. But like Branston took took
that over. Yeah. The first album I made in this new format was Mona Bone Jacon. And the first single from that album, Lady Darbanville, about my new American girlfriend, Paddy Darbanville, reached number 8 in the UK. The album, however, was just the precursor to my international breakthrough release, Tea for the Tillerman, which became a top 10 hit across the globe and featured mega hits Wild World and Father and Son. But there was still better to come. And the next album, Teaser and the Firecat, went multi-platinum with more big hits like Moon Shadow, Morning Has Broken, and Peace Train. Inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2014, a dedicated follower of the Muslim faith and an advocate for peace and many other humanitarian causes, my name is...
It's Cat Stevens.
Yusuf Islam.
Yeah.
Yusuf is
That's what I was thinking.
I knew you'd know it. I knew you'd know it, Chloe.
Steve Adams is what triggered me first.
Really?
Yeah, it was. No. Like I'm gone. Yeah, but yeah.
I thought the tuberculosis thing might have triggered
spiritual awakening as well.
Yeah, that sounded.
Got me. Yeah.
What a talent. What a
well
talent.
done. Another great one, Braggy.
It's a really good one, Braggy.
Thank you so much.
I learned stuff from Braggy all the time.
Well, I learned it from Wikipedia.
All right, so Chloe, let's talk about the way forward. So you're heading back to Nashville, and when are you back in the recording studio? And how many songs do you have up your sleeve ready to go?
Side C and side D.
That is, yes. People do say side C, side D. The sides are done. We're done with the sides. We're going to move into a new phase. I have a couple of songs up my sleeve that are ready to go, but then the world is my oyster. Then I can head back into the studio. I don't really know whether I'll do another EP or if I'll go into the album territory. I do think that's something to consider because albums are kind of, I don't want to say dying, but
I think
I just think you should go to Nashville and record there.
I agree. I'm going over obviously next week, and there's a producer I'd really like to work with over there. So touch base with him and see how we go. And if I'm trying to get back to Nashville anyway early next year, so that's kind of the plan. I do have a new song coming out before the end of the year, so you can keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for that, because I love releasing music, and I don't like there being too long between releases. So there is one before Christmas, and it's not a Christmas song though.
But do you feel with the concept of an album that if you drop 10 songs at once, some of them won't get the love they deserve?
Entirely, and that upsets me as a songwriter. So
it does.
Yeah, with side A, I'm not sure if you realize, but every single song that was on side A came out as a single or a DSP drop by itself. And then Vaguer Than Vegas was the final track to come out to create the EP.
Package it. Yeah.
And some people may say that was silly because then why make an EP?
So.
But it to me, it still tells the story and it needs to be in an EP. With side B, I only got 3 songs out before the actual project, like entire thing. And that was a little bit disheartening because Come Back Around and Light Years to me really are so beautiful and deserved their time and deserved playlisting and all of those things. But just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes with releasing and getting things out when you need. And I also...
Well, I mean, the old school way of doing it, Rossi, you'll agree with me with this. The old school way of doing it is you have enough songs for an album, and then you pick the eyes out of those, the 3 or the 4 best tracks, or maybe the 2, and you put them out. And if they go hard, then you might pick another single, and then you put the album out. So that's the way they used to do it in the old days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think to properly exploit a track or to get the best value out of a track, because it's expensive to produce a track, is that you need to have some resources to hit socials with each individual track. Because if you don't, it won't get the love. And it's really hard. Like it's a hard decision to make. Which child do you like?
Yeah.
You know?
You can't have favorites.
No, you can't have fun. No, but we all do.
We do.
Sorry. Sorry, fellas.
I love each week, Rossi, how you and I continue this little debate. It's great.
But it's the debate everyone's having. No, like
that's right.
Sure,
it's the way of
make
music.
sure the songs are the important thing, and the work that you put into each song needs to get the recognition it deserves, I think, you know.
Yep,
but
I
how we
understand
do
your
that in the modern world is a whole other. But the beauty of having a vinyl 12-inch album with 10 tracks on it, it's a pretty cool thing to do too. You know, I understand that.
Yeah.
That's
Very much
sort of why I not sort of that it was a big reason why I didn't do an album, why I split it up. Because I knew that I'd get more longevity, more life, more chance to promote more songs if I did 2 EPs. If you do 1 album, you get 3 singles. And then there's 7
dead songs.
Yeah, essentially. And I just think that the way that the market is now with singles, it's such a singles market. And
attention spans are so hard. There's so much stuff and so much noise. It's really hard to get ears on.
I think you'll find they're not called 7 dead songs. They're called deep cuts.
That's right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for cutting to the chase, but you know what I mean, don't you?
Rossi, you should have seen Braggy's face when you said that. It's almost like,
Chloe, just promise us that when you go to Nashville and you get the contract and you get to make it later on when you're famous, make an album.
I promise there will be an album, definitely at some point.
But I think when you get to Nashville and make a record, what I'd really like is for someone else to pay for it for you too.
Yes.
That's the go.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just as another aside, we've got the Kathy and Neil from Suitcase Records here in Brisbane took me through how to make vinyl, and it's quite such a fascinating thing to do. And they're coming on the show in a couple of weeks' time, so
Can't wait for that.
Really looking forward to that. But certainly, if you are looking to do a vinyl, I'd highly recommend Kathy and Neil from Suitcase Records. They're really genuine people, really genuine.
Yeah, I've heard great things about them.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. So what an amazing episode, as always, isn't it? So, Chloe, I just really thank you for coming on and sharing with us. I hope it wasn't too painful for you. I hope you had a little bit of fun. But and I'm serious when I say I just really love your songs. So I really wish you every single success. And I'm sure I speak for both Braggy and Rossi as well.
Yeah, you're doing all the right things, Chloe. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, it's exciting where you're heading, you know. Like the Bluebird is the coolest thing. Did you ever watch the TV series? Nashville?
Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like what a show.
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah,
man,
of course I did.
so Bluebird's not laid out like it is in the show, right?
No, it's not.
They do it in the round.
Yeah, when I was there
Yeah,
in June, it was a bit of a shock because I was like, oh wait, it's a little bit different, but it's cooler. It's better.
It's much cooler. Yeah. And it's such a TV. Just don't trust TV.
When you go there, Chloe, there's another friend of the podcast who lives in Nashville. Her name's Alison Asarch. She's a great friend of the podcast. She was the first overseas person we ever had on, Curly. That's right, eh?
Yeah.
And she moved to Nashville from Texas or wherever she was, and she's just still slogging it out there. But she loves it, doesn't she?
Yeah, absolutely. And she's got a tour on at the moment. She's got some touring dates outside of Nashville, which is always positive as well. So continue. She put out an album, Chloe. I'm just saying. She put out an album.
Not anti. I buy albums. I'm not anti-album. I buy them.
Yeah. But I'd love to see one of the newer artists actually really write for an album, and really try and make the 10 songs or 12 songs or 9 songs all try and tell a story, because that's when you see the real beauty of an album, that they follow each other and you're seeing
it's a big work of art.
Yeah, it is.
Look, to be honest, guys, I got the final mixes of the Jupiter 5 album last night.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to start winding up, guys. So is there any last questions before I do that?
I don't think so. I think we've covered everything.
Awesome. So
who came up with the reggae feel?
My producer, Andy Mack.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually wrote January Love on the piano.
Right.
And I wasn't even really going to put it on the record. So when he was like, no, it's got a cool feel. And then I had an incredible drummer, Harry Day from the band Middle Kids, great Aussie band. He was the drummer as well. So he brought his groove into it. And it kind of just took its own life and direction. I love it. Yeah.
Do you still go back to the piano? Like, is the piano still the primary source, right?
Yeah. I have a keyboard right there that I have at home, but because I don't live with my parents anymore, but when I do get home, we have an upright that I just can't help but play. Yeah.
You know, Vander and Young, when they were recording the AC/DC stuff, would take all those songs to the piano. And if they stood up on the piano, the songs were strong enough. So the AC/DC stuff was actually filtered through the piano.
It makes sense. Everyone thinks they're rock and hard and heavy, but they're pop songs that those guys wrote.
Pop songs.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Chloe, for coming on tonight. Really enjoyed the conversation. If you have enjoyed the conversation and want to check out Chloe's music, of course, we'll have snippets of that during the show tonight. So if you have enjoyed Chloe, make sure you follow her on the streaming platforms.
Like and follow.
And reach out. She's got CDs, so get one. Get a physical copy, because merch is really important for every artist in today's streaming landscape. So if you have enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe. We love reviews. We need more of them, people, so more people can find out about the podcast and the algorithm starts to kick in. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. And, of course, all of Chloe's links will be in the show notes, so you'll be able to check her out on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. Chloe's music has been added to the Unfiltered and Undiscovered playlist, which is now about 17 hours. So we're 7 away from
trying
the
to
goal.
get 24.
And also added to the new Unfiltered, Fresh and Fierce Female Country playlist that we've started.
Oh, well done, Curly.
Well done.
Yeah. So, and lyrics from the playlist this week. Sorry, Rossi.
With 17 hours, I could almost do a marathon.
Yeah, well, the plan is to have our own 24/7 radio station. So so anyway, we'll get there. Lyrics from the playlist, and before I do a little bit of news, good friends of the podcast, Blind Season from Detroit.
Yes.
And remember, Ross, Braggy, we had Wolf Darling, we had Sam from Wolf Darling.
From Detroit as well. Yep.
they've released a song together.
Ah,
and it's amazing.
It's going to be
So
out
it's-
there.
It's really cool.
I've got a little bit of podcast news for you too. I see that our good friends, the Ritzy Kids, are doing a record launch at the Lincoln Pin in Woy Woy.
Oh, yes. So well done. It's an EP release, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
In
Yeah, it
Woy
is.
Woy. That's a great place to release.
The Lincoln Pin is one of my favorite places in the country. It's such a cool gig.
Awesome.
So that would be a Sunday session to behold, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
So lyric from the podcast come from our good friends Blind Season with their song Empty Summer. The fear is so profound, it can't be where I'm bound. What's lost and can't be found. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in tonight.
Thank you very much, Chloe.
Thank you once again, Chloe. And for everyone else,
Thanks,
we
Chloe.
will see you all again next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
I'm feeling an empty summer.